Keep 100% of your claim. G4 Claims.
If you've been hurt in a road accident that wasn't your fault, you should really talk to G4 Claims first. Unlike road accident solicitors, we don't charge you for our services, which could see you better off. To keep 100% of your compensation, have a chat with Nicole and the team. You'll be glad you did. Search online for G4 Claims.
Keep 100% of your claim. G4 Claims.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Sellik the Thunder podcast. We're finally back. It's been a couple of weeks, a well-deserved couple of weeks off, boys. We've had a long season. It's now time to turn our attentions to the summer with episode 64 of the podcast. So I ask the question, what players have wore the shirt number 64 in Celtic's illustrious history? Not as easy as 63, is it?
No, definitely not. I'm just going to throw a name out there. Richie Towell.
Richie Towell?
Yep.
Who the hell's Richie Towell?
Plymouth legend, Richie Towell. Used to play for us as well. I think he played for Plymouth, I'm not sure.
Oh, well, I've never heard him. Towell, that's a funny
before your
sight.
time, I'm showing my age here.
Before my time, fuck's sake. What age are you?
That's what, 3 years between us?
True, to be fair. Kieran, what are you saying? Any guesses?
One of the Twardzik brothers.
You always go with a Twardzik brother.
One day it's going to...
I can doubt
If I've already missed the number, then I don't remember.
I think you have, because I'm looking forward to future episodes and I see absolutely nobody with the name Twardzik. I'll give you a clue. There's two of them are fairly recent. One was the 2018-19 season, one was the 15-16 season. So two kind of recent time.
Wait, 64?
64 Zoo Lane.
And what season did you say? 89?
89,
fucking 18-19?
18-19 was the most recent, and then before that 15-16.
Calvin Miller?
No, not Calvin Miller. Not a bad guess. I think Calvin Miller was 50-something. One of them currently plays for Falkirk in League One. I think he's just signed for Falkirk, and the other is signed for Forest Green.
Oh, Jackie Aitchison?
No.
Forest Green just now?
It says new arrival at Forest Green.
Aidan Nesbitt or whatever no play for.
Aidan Nesbitt is one of the correct answers. Aidan Nesbitt, new arrival.
Has he not been at Falkirk for a few years?
It says new arrival. So I'm not sure.
Who's he at?
He's apparently just there from this season. From Greenock Morton. So he's been there this season.
He was at Morton, aye.
Yes.
Aye.
So there you go. Aidan Nesbitt is one of them. Well done. And the other, he's just want me to tell you, 24 years old. He's played for Forest Green Rovers this season. He joined from Rafe Rovers.
Regan
Henry. Correct. Well done, Kieran. Well done. That's awful good.
I like that.
Well done.
Good knowledge. That.
How did you end up figuring that one out? Just a wee...
I knew there was somebody. I was thinking that boy that went to Rafe Rovers, but I didn't know he went to Forest Green. So...
yeah.
So I remember he was playing heavy bill for them last season.
Fair enough. Well, we're back anyway, and it's nice to be back after a couple of weeks off. Kieran's back on for the first time in about a month or so, because Callum Craig joined us in the last couple. You couldn't make the end of season awards.
I'm trying to think the last one, maybe before Hearts game or something.
It may have been. Still recovering for the hangover of Trophy Day.
I've not been right since, but
we've never been right since we started this podcast, Kieran. Let's not kid ourselves on. But is it good to be back, Kieran? How are you looking forward to summer after what was an electric season following Celtic?
I don't know, man. Like, we were just saying this before. We've got 2 months until Celtic have got a competitive game. What are we going to do for podcasts, man?
We're not going to be relevant this summer, boys. If you're watching, please make sure to hit like and subscribe, because we need the support right now. Let us know what you want to hear and see over the next couple of months. We've been
within reason.
Get rid of reason. Right?
Somebody suggested in the Twitter replies to do our episode controlling each other's Tinder. Now I don't know if that's strict.
You can't control a lost cause. You can't.
I did also suggest we play up to the whole culinary aspect of this podcast. The fact that we speak about food for a good 10 minutes yet, and we just do the Great Sellik Bake Off.
No, that would be. Yeah, listen, that was a good idea. Just as I said, rent out a home economics classroom. And then just have a cook off and see who can make the best scran.
If
I
that's
just make
the case,
butterfly chicken and super noodles.
What would you make, Ryan?
Just anything noodles. I'd bring micro noodles back just for that. I'd be calling them up or whatever. Micro noodles, they've got to come back. But I'm just thinking, who'd be Sue and Mel and Sue? Hamish and Stevie.
Hamish and Stevie would be a
I
good
love that.
shout for that.
Can you imagine if somebody
Who's
was
that
away?
who's the comedian again? He was in like the Mighty Bush and that, and he's got the long hair and he's on
Yeah, I
it.
know his name. Oh my God, Russell Brand's pal. What's his name?
No something.
No Fielding.
That could be Russell. What's it called? Boise Bus. He's got
Russell
long
would make
hair.
a crying host for a bake-off as well.
Someone's put out. There's somebody away.
There's somebody away. Anyway, we are back. And Ryan, you're here as well. You've been on the last few shows. You were
always here.
You were last night watching the Scotland game. A bit of disappointment as Scotland go crashing out of the World Cup before they're even
Do
in
you know,
it.
it was a good night apart from the game. Free pies at my local, which was
Free
good.
pies?
Aye.
That's your local.
My local's the Vulky in Coatbridge, shout out. It used to be a Wetherspoons, but it's now family owned by a family that live in Coatbridge.
Oh, is this the one that's doing like the healthy, as if you're
Yep. It used to be a Wetherspoons, but it's kind of still like it, but it's got music and they show the games and that as well, and free pies. But it was good. It was a good night apart from the football. It was really disappointing.
So you
but
did it for the pie.
I actually got 2 pies because my dad lifted
Two
one as
pies,
well,
eh?
and then he didn't eat it. So I
Take
was like,
advantage of the good nature.
That's it. I'm not going to go back now after that, man. Jeez, it was a disappointing night. Ukraine were just the better team, though, I'd say.
Yep.
And Scotland just didn't turn up.
Luckily enough, we're not here to talk about Scotland.
Oh, God.
We're here to talk about the only team that matter in this land, and that is Celtic. But on that note, Kieran, as you've touched on, it's going to be a hard 2 months. I guess that the podcast and every other bit of content I do will be fueled by transfer rumours alone. So I guess we start off with the summer. It's a big summer for Celtic as we look to strengthen our side. £40 million in the bank account as Celtic have from
Shane O'Mac.
qualifying in the Champions League. We're still waiting for word on Cameron, Carter, Vickers and Jota to see what will be happening with those two joining Celtic. It's been a bit of a silence over the last week since the kind of articles broke last week. However, Big Carter Vickers was out speaking last night, I believe, in the tabloids and such. We're picking it up.
Yep.
He said, I've really enjoyed it at Celtic. We were good to watch, enjoyable team to play in. 24 now, and I want to be somewhere where I can settle for a few years. Me and my agent have been talking. Sorry, I've lost it. The pages just flew there as I was trying to read it there. Me and my agent have been talking to the club throughout the season about what's going to happen, but obviously it's not just my decision. Celtic have to come to some kind of agreement with Tottenham, so it's not completely in my hands. I just want to be somewhere playing football. If I'm completely honest, I think it's time to move on permanently. I'm happy with last season. I really enjoyed my time there. There's a lot of talking in this article to kind of break down. I'll start with you, Kieran, as I was talking to there. What do you make of Cameron Carter Vickers' comments? I think it's very promising sounding from his perspective. It sounds like he's kind of eager to join.
When you read that, you think it's good because it just seems like it's in Celtic's hands, but then you think of the past transfer dealings to Celtic and you're like, oh no, it's in Celtic's hands because it's an open goal, really. I mean, all we need to do is just go and no be cheapskates and actually pay what he's worth, because you had a lot of talk even at the start of the season. Remember when people were starting to pick up on how good Carter Vickers was, and it was like, is he worth £10 million, which was the figure that was getting thrown about back then, but it's supposedly close at about £6.5 million now. Of course he's worth £6.5 million. A centre half that's came in like Carter Vickers, we've not had MD that's came in and he's been so universally liked by all the fans, and like he's just been a real stability at the back line after him and Starfelt obviously is a good partnership, so you don't want to lose that. But as I said, it should be an open goal for Celtic here. Go and get a deal done with Spurs. He sounds like he wants to join. Just can't fuck this one up. But I feel like it's in a similar position with Jota and Benfica as well, but I suppose we'll come on to that.
Yeah, Ryan, any comments? I see you holding your breath there as if you're going to speak.
No, he just sounds really. It sounds like he wants to come. Which is great. It's very, very encouraging.
Do you know what it sounds like? It sounds like a come and get me sort of message.
It does, yeah.
You know?
And what I'd say, the $6 million that we'd spend is absolutely pennies considering what he probably would be worth if he plays for a Fulham or an Everton or a Wolves, plays a season, and then he'd be worth maybe double, treble that in the Premier League next season, and he wouldn't even improve that much as a player, I don't think.
Nah, it's just because he plays down there, it would be.
Your price gets elevated there if you play down there. It's just because the spotlight's on you down there more. But he's got Champions League football guaranteed up here, which will show his image to people anyway. He's 24, he's going to get game time up here. I think it's only a matter of time before it gets done. I think both teams will work out a deal.
It does seem like a no-brainer, but because see, in the past few seasons, we've always had the somewhat lure you could get Champions League football, but see this year, it being guaranteed for Carter Vickers and Jota, I feel like that's like the carrot and the stick, man. Like, surely to God, that they look at that and think I'm not going to get a better chance to go anywhere else right now. It's the logical place. Well, obviously we're going to say it's the logical place for them to go, but when you look at how good they've played the past season and how loved they are up here, let's show to God they think, great, I can go there for a few years.
Well, that's touching on comments later down in the article that Carter Vickers kind of delves into. You know, he talks about the manager. So he says he wants to be somewhere where I enjoy my football and I get on with the manager. The manager at Celtic's a top manager who wants to play out the back and keep possession, which suits me. And then he kind of touches on, and this is kind of the interesting part, it's been difficult to keep going out on loan. This is a guy who doesn't want to be sent out on loan after loan after loan. He's not going to be sent out on loan at Celtic, that's one thing for sure. So it seems like everything in this interview and everything that he touches on is basically saying what he wants and what he's going to get at Celtic, which is very positive in my eyes. And I think that you're right, Kieran, it was you that said I think it's the same situation with sort of Jota as well. You know, I feel like we've got all the answers to the questions, and it's just about obviously the board doing it. But this is the one thing that I've picked up on in my comment section over the past couple of weeks. A lot of people still have that same old scepticism at the Celtic board, because they think that if anything's to go wrong, it's going to come from there. It's going to be the Celtic board's
I mean, that's
fault.
like, if anything does go wrong, it can only come from the Celtic board, because you've got two players that have pretty much came out and said, well, Carter Vickers anyway in recent days came out and said it, but it's very clear that Jota isn't needed at Benfica. The new managers came out and said he's coming for PSV, isn't he? The new manager. Right. So he's came in and he said he's not going to be in my plans. Celtic know what the transfer fee's going to be. It's a release clause. So Jota, I mean, he's not really came out and done many interviews, has he? But I mean, you see him going away with his teammates and that on holiday. You see him absolutely loving it up here. Like, surely to God he wants to come here. So it is literally just about Celtic getting it over the line. And I think people have right to have their scepticisms, because in the past we have certainly fucked up a few transfer negotiations and that. The Celtic board have been getting a lot more credit recently. I mean, it's very back and forth the way everybody's support for them goes. So, but at the current moment, I think a lot of people are giving them a bit of credit for the past season. So I don't know. I'm still not going to... I don't like to get ahead of myself. I'll be happy when I see them standing at Celtic Park with the scarf above their head, like, officially confirmed. But hopefully that's sooner rather than later. But Carter Vickers on international duty, so
yeah,
it's going to postpone it a couple of weeks.
It's mental to think that these were the two guys that were two out of the three players that were brought in deadline day, and they made such a massive impact over the course of the season. And the third player as well in Yakimakis.
Yeah, it's crazy to think that deadline. Imagine we just didn't get that business done on deadline day.
We wouldn't have won the league.
No,
It's as simple as that.
Yeah, of course.
We can see, because Jota, Carter Vickers is such a solid defender. He was in the team the whole season, but you look at the moments that Jota had. I mean, I was watching that How the League Was Won last night.
How the League Was Lost.
And it was a very dubious programme, I've got to be said. But the amount of what do you call them, moments that Jota had was incredible. He's just involved in everything. Every big goal we seem to score, Jota had a hand in. He's just a big game player.
Yeah, and that's why we need them. And that was a question I was going to come to you with, Ryan. You know, are you still remaining confident that the two of them will join the club? Do you think that is still going to happen? I'm getting, and I feel there's like nothing I can do in my position. I get comments and tweets and people's tweet. I got a couple last night just aimed at me, like, you know, at Ryan Stephen F. Any update on Carter Vickers and Jota? I'm getting worried, and I got a couple of tweets like that, and I'm like, listen, I'm not in a position to come out and reassure anybody.
You're the furthest from in the know.
Exactly, I'm the furthest from in the know, right? I'm not going to know, but deep down, I just feel like it is going to happen. I don't want to jinx anything. That's touched that big fucking plank I would there. But
I'm still buzzing over the league win, to be honest.
Right.
But, I mean, and Andrew's told us go and enjoy the summer, so I'm guessing he's going to do his work while we can just enjoy the summer. I'm quite calm about the whole thing. I've been heartbroken before with loan players, so I'm not getting as emotionally
Something
invested.
just feels different this time. But
I think it's because they don't have the sort of gamble of bringing players in for the Champions League qualifiers. The fact that money's there, we're going to be playing there. I think we're going to spend the money for these two players, and they don't need to acclimatise or anything.
Nah,
they know everybody.
Yep.
It's just easy. It's like the missing pieces of the jigsaw, or it's as if you've lost pieces and you're putting them back in.
It's just not nice when it drags on, because everybody wants it done here now, but obviously transfers aren't exactly a shut and closed case. There's a lot that goes into things like this, so negotiations that take a while. But I mean, obviously everybody gets a bit on edge as it drags on and on. So it is. I understand why people get nervy. I'm going to say I'm pure nervy. I still think they'll sign, but it's just, you want it now, don't you? You just want it done and dusted.
You want the stress of it all to be just gone. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. I read something yesterday. I think it was something that was put in a group chat. Has there been an extension given on Carter Vickers? You know, we were told at first
There was
it was
beforehand.
What was it we were given till May? Was it May?
Until June, middle of June.
Yeah, something like that.
But he's on it because he got called up for internationals. I'd imagine it's probably been. That's the thing, but as we just said, it sounds like he's pretty much he knows what
he wants.
What he wants. It's just up to Celtic to agree the fee with Tottenham.
I think he will get a permanent deal somewhere. It's just about where he goes.
I better be here.
I know, I hope so.
I will personally pick him up for the M8 and the airport and drive him along the M8 to Parkhead.
It's because I think people might be getting a bit more worried because you always the papers always throw it that West Ham are interested, Newcastle are interested,
Bournemouth, Fulham, Everton, all these teams interested.
But I'm like, he's went on loan to teams like Bournemouth and that in the past. Like,
I know that's the thing. Obviously, money talks in football, but I'd love to think that someone like him who has experienced all of these championship level clubs and stadiums knows the difference. He's like, right, Champions League, 60,000 seater stadium, the best fans in the country. Surely
it's his only chance they know to go somewhere different and get Europe, because all the teams that are coming from, like, they're not going to be playing in Europe. No. He's been about the teams in England. He's done the hard yards playing down the Championship and that as well. So surely he looks at it up here. He knows he's enjoyed his football. He can be a champion up here and also play in Europe's highest competition. So, as I said, sure, how much more an incentive do you actually need?
Absolutely, it's a perfect fit. The only move that I wouldn't begrudge him for is Newcastle at this point, because they're a different kettle of fish.
I don't think Newcastle would sign him, to be honest. Like, I reckon, even though I think he would slot into that team perfectly, it's just, I think they're going to want to try and chase a far bigger name.
Yeah.
Like, see, because of the money behind them.
They'll be wanting the big. They're now at a point, Newcastle, where the marquee signings are coming up. They want to get big names on that team sheet.
Although I don't know if they can spend as much just now with financial fair play. So I don't know if that'd maybe be a cheaper option for them.
Yeah,
but
maybe.
He'd be an upgrade on like your Lascelles and that. He's a better player than Lascelles, that's for sure.
Aye.
Does that Fabian Schär still play for them?
He just got an extension for them.
I mean, Celtic were linked to him after the
I
World
wanted
Cup.
us to sign him so badly. I really
Good
did.
player. He's a good player. Had a good second half of the season.
Yeah, but that's the.
This isn't the Newcastle podcast.
Yeah, welcome to the tune. So we've covered Cameron Vickers and Jota, all the kind of news there is on that. Just to answer any queries, because there's been so many people asking for an update. Listen, all we can do is speculate in this podcast. None of us have the inside information to tell you, oh yeah, it'll be done on Friday. And see anybody on Twitter who's trying to tell you it will be done on Friday, don't give them the fucking time of day.
So many times, man, so many days it was meant to be done by. I just can't do it.
Stop giving them a fucking time of day and retweeting
Anybody that's retweeting that Turkish reporter,
Aye.
you're an absolute mug. He talks mince every summer.
It's only until I see somebody like Anthony Joseph or something give me some information that I'm like, right, okay, now I can trust this.
Fabrizio Romano as well.
you know, convinced now.
I don't think he knows just that much more than us, to be honest with you. I mean, he reported saying that, not against him, but he reported saying that we were in advanced talks with that Hammerby left back, and then a few days later he came out and said that the contact was made, but it never went any further than that. So, what one was it?
That's another thing. See the Daily Record, they're obviously getting names for Kerrydale Street because there's a transfer page. Somebody will put a rumour in, about 4 or 5 hours later there's a Daily Record article coming out about.
I genuinely think we could start one like here and just get everybody that watches the video.
If Spunkphone has the power to do what he does, we could start rumours.
And the Aberdeen fans, your dad sells Evo.
That was Sky Sports to put that up.
That was incredible.
That was unbelievable.
But the biggest example, the example that I had there for that Kerrydale Street, that Ryan May or May or however, he was getting linked on Kerrydale Street. I read that. And then 4 or 5 hours, it was the 10:30 sort of headlines or the tweets, and his name came up. So I was like,
well, we'll wait. We'll see.
It'd be a good signing, but
yeah, it would. That's our task for the summer, boys. Who can come up with the most convincing transfer rumour and who can get it spread the fastest? Right, we're going to set ourselves a task. We'll see what we can do. Whether it's a fake player, by the way, if you can hear a siren there, it's just them coming to pick up our boy McGinley.
That's that. No catty this weekend.
But we'll see. You can make up a fake name, or you can just link us with Callum Chambers or something. I don't know.
That's a random name.
It was, mate. Honestly, right. In terms of transfers, though, the rest of the team, it seems pretty self-explanatory. Self-explanatory. That's not really a term I want to use. It's like an earthquake going. What's happening? Is this place collapsing or something?
World War Z out there.
We walk outside and the place is
Brad
bombed.
Pitt will be out there.
But we kind of know where Celtic needs to improve this summer. We've spoke about certain areas, left back, central defensive midfielder, stuff like that. Do you think where is for you you boys, the areas you want to see improve the most. Feel free to touch on different areas. Kieran, I'll start with you. Is it as simple as just saying left back, or do you think anywhere else needs to
I think there's a few signings needed, because I mean, even if we get Carter Vickers signed up, I still think we need another centre half for depth, because I think we got a bit lucky throughout that season. There wasn't, apart from like Starfelt missing a handful of games at one point, there was no real long term injury to either of them. Like, we kind of got off with one because we had a solid partnership the full season. But I think we need to have another centre half in there in the eventuality that one of them does get injured, because Julian is probably not going to be here. I reckon he might leave. Depends what happens during pre-season and that. Everybody was obviously annoyed at him for no being grinning ear to ear after the team won the league.
That's right.
Despite never played any football. So
Sorrow was grinning. I'll have you know. He's always
I
grinning.
know,
I don't think
I've got the
he can
smell
frown.
of his face.
Nah, I think his smell is permanent.
The
It's
Joker.
infectious.
He's seen some things.
Right, even then, you've got Stephen Welsh, and I think next few seasons, I think Stephen Welsh will improve, but I don't think he's suitable to be if we've been into a Champions League campaign and your backup centre half is Stephen Welsh, I don't think it's showing a great level of ambition. So I don't know who we're going to sign, but I still think we need depth at centre half, another left back that's capable of playing, like starting, like no like a project sign or nothing, as people would like to call it, like somebody that can come in and actually challenge Greg Taylor for that space. And but you want somebody. I'm no slagging Greg Taylor, because he's a very hot and cold player, but near the end of the season he put in some big performances and that he started to get a bit of what the favourite of the fans behind him. But I still think if you want to move forward as a team, you need to get somebody better than Greg Taylor at left back, and then you've also got the argument of getting another midfielder in. But I don't know. I've also seen us getting linked to others as strikers, but
I know. I think there was the murmurs going into towards the end of the season where it was a kind of quiet talk that Ange did want another striker.
We do need one.
I wanted that.
I mean,
would
if
like
Yeti's
another
away,
younger
we've only got
striker.
Kyogo and
Giacomakis.
Aye, but who was it? Was it Lennon was saying that we need a physical striker?
Yeah, so I never read this article, so I was just kind of bored click on it. And
I done it just out of pure habit.
Did you see on the awards show somebody was like, it's time to leave him alone. I'm like, listen, we named an award.
No, he's doing alright.
I was like, listen, we're,
big boy.
we're acknowledging a controversial figure in Celtic's past. We named an award after him, fuck's sake. We hardly, slaughtered the guy, although we do that any other week. But what does it? we did. What was he saying we need? What was Lenny saying?
He was saying we need a physical striker up front, as if he's not watched their games. Second half of the season.
Why
I mean,
did-
Giacomakis is the definition of a physical striker.
Like,
Like, why did he not sign a physical striker then, if he thinks he made one?
Because he's not got the pull factor that Ange
should have got
does.
Andy Carroll in, man.
He's a free
Imagine
transfer,
that.
isn't he?
There's a lot of good
who's he
free
playing for?
transfers.
Is it Reading
He
or
was playing.
something?
He was playing for Reading and West Brom, but he got released.
A lot of free agents in football now. Pogba, Lingard, Mata. Just for United alone.
Remember there was that weird Mata rumour for a couple of days that he was going to Celtic.
Aye, fucking I knew
Was
that
there?
was not.
There
Aye, there was
was,
a rumour for
aye.
a couple of days back in like January time.
I must getting linked with Joe Allen
Aye, they were
and
the days.
Bojan.
Oh, Bojan, remember?
I was seeing last night he's playing in Japan with Kyogo's old team,
Aye.
Vissel Kobe or whatever.
Oft.
Yeah, they're fighting off relegation
Aye,
now.
that's the only reason I seen it, because they're in the relegation
I'm
spot.
missing Kyogo, and
Missing
they're
big
not having
time.
him back.
No, there's no
They
chance
can't
of
afford
that.
them.
He's having fun here now. But like Ryan, what were you going to say in terms of transfers? Anything you'd like to see done and dusted? As we
The squad's not a Champions League squad, because we showed that, and we showed that in the Conference League.
are you worried about the Champions League?
Not worried about it, no, because I think it's something to sort of embrace. This is what we've wanted, this is what we've been working towards, but I do think we need quality signings in there. I think we need a goalkeeper to be challenging Hart, because I don't think he's going to be the answer in the next 4 or 5 years. He's done so well, he's been a leader on and off the pitch, but we need somebody in there that's going to be challenging him.
I think you need to have a plan for life after Joe Hart. I mean, I know
Yep.
he's only been here a season, but I mean, he's not going to be here for forever.
Seen that we
So-
were linked with the Limped goalkeeper a couple of months ago. That would be quite good, because he's good with his feet. And I think in terms of the next evolution of, and I don't want us to go and sign maybe another Barcast that's
No, it's-
good with his feet, but he can't save a
See that
shot.
thing, but see just with how much trouble we've had with goalkeepers in the past, I think they might be reluctant to try and get another one in now, just because that will be like a starter event. Because I think now we've found a bit of solidity with Joe Hart. I think everybody's pretty happy with Hart and goals, but I mean, I think we're not really looking too far into the future, which it's kind of shooting yourself in the foot. But I think a lot of people are just happy in the here and now. But I think that has possibly been a big problem at Celtic here the
Aye.
past 10 years.
And then in terms of other positions, Left back, yeah, I'm quite happy for Taylor to play the Ralston role. That he will get quite a few games this season. You need rotation. It's going to be that way, especially with the way the World Cup's working this year. But we need somebody of Juranovic's quality playing at left back.
Aye, I agree with that.
And I think we need another attacking midfielder as well, somebody that's faster on the ball. Because O'Reilly and Rogic were very similar. They're good players,
but
if we can get somebody that's quicker in passing the ball and releasing the ball, then I think we're onto something.
Let's just do a quick inventory, if you will, of our midfielders. So we've got.
Well, I was like, funnily enough, I was going to bring back an old segment. I was waiting to bring back keep, loan or sell. I was going to bring that back, you know. No, it's not as exciting as it was last year, but I mean, it could be. So we're going.
I still think there's as many talking points though.
So you're talking about inventory, right? Let's do an inventory. Let's do the keep, loan and sell of certain players, and we'll work our way through the team. Kieran, you went, oh Christ, as if this was a bad thing.
No, I'm just thinking about some of the opinions we had last year.
Well, last year the big one was Ralston, and to quote Ryan, you said punt him so far to fuck. And
see, to be fair, but people look back on that and think, Jesus Christ, you was so far off it. But everybody was so far off it. I didn't think anybody was on board with Ralston last year.
No, of course. So let's see how we can do this year then. Let's bring back the famous keep, loan or sell and see what we can do. So I guess the first place to start is we'll go just with the obvious talking point players. I'm not going to bring up Joe Hart or Scott Bain or anything like that.
Yeah, because he's just signed a new deal.
Yeah, exactly.
He's buzzing with life, isn't he?
Oh mate, he must
he's
be
happy, man.
He must just not care.
Have you seen his missus?
Oh,
he's doing well for himself, man.
Mate,
he is living the life, mate. I swear.
Might be the happiest man on earth. Who knows?
Alright with that.
Nah. Right, okay, let's start with Barkas then.
He's got to go. He's got to go. I'm sorry.
Goodbye, my lover. Goodbye, my friend.
Hologram hands has got to go.
I think it is a sell this
It's
summer.
time to go.
Yeah. I mean, when we use the term sell, like, how do we sell Barkas? You
don't know.
Like,
we need a wheeler dealer or something.
Like you stone him outside in the street and you put one of the wee strings with the thing on it for sale.
For sale, see if anybody comes fast.
To a good home, but no, honestly, as much as I tried to try and think, right, maybe he can redeem himself. Just seeing somebody on Twitter was cruel enough to put up the highlights of that West Ham game again.
I knew that was coming.
Honestly, man, like, it is fucking criminal. Like, honestly, he might be one of the worst keepers I've ever seen in my life.
He is bad.
It's ridiculous how shite he is.
Harsh.
No, but I mean, I feel bad saying it, but honestly, like, I tried my hardest to think, right, maybe, he's a wee bit nervous, but honestly, like, Jesus Christ, like, I hope we never have to see a goalkeeper as jailbait as that ever again.
God, he wasn't good.
Right, okay, we'll move on.
Maybe he was a good goalkeeper in Greece.
Enough. Right.
Okay,
we'll move on.
He won't be redeemed.
I think he'll go back.
Back to Greece, maybe?
Yeah. Greece or Turkey. Turkey seem to take hundreds of shite players in the league, so
carries.
Istanbul.
Al McGregor.
Right, that's right. A lot of the fucking the class of 2012, Kenny Miller, Chris Boyd, Alan McGregor.
Yeah, done a wee stint in Turkey.
Was Lafferty there at a point?
Chris Boyd did get his teeth done.
He had that in the first half of the season and went back to a Scottish club and done well in the split. That's just what he done.
Right, Julian, it's got to be a sell for me. Got to go.
Thank you,
bro. He's got to walk.
He just doesn't fit.
Nah,
Ange-Ball, unfortunately.
Nah, he does not. This is one that I'm going to bring up. Maybe a little bit more conversation to it. Liam Scales.
Loan.
I think.
Would you loan him out?
I don't know, because I feel like putting him on loan might just be delaying the inevitable, to be honest. But I mean, I don't want to write somebody off as quickly as that. But at the same time, I think it is just going to be delaying the inevitable, but I think he will go on loan.
Right, okay.
His performance against Bodo Glimt away from home was laughably bad.
It was damning, that performance, I think.
I was actually laughing through it because it was so bad. And that sounds terrible, but he was so out of place.
One of the things that I'll say about Liam Scales is I never mean to have, it seems like there's not all of them, because not everybody's the same, but a lot of the Irish support who like us want Scales to do well, and then I always seem to get backlash from criticising him because of so. But,
but I suppose it's the same way that we want players that go down south to do well, because it shows that our league is because if players come in here and they don't do well, it kind of reflects badly on
League of Ireland,
which obviously they don't want to see. But I'm not saying every player. You've got players that have went and done well like at other clubs in Scotland for League of Ireland, but I just think at Celtic it might be a step too far to just come straight over sort of thing. But
right, the final defender that I think there's any discussion about is Dane Murray. Keep loan or sell? Would you keep him around?
Unfortunate, because he's just coming off an ACL.
Yeah, would you keep him around for the B team, or would you think about maybe loaning him out?
I think he could probably benefit for, because I mean he's quite a big boy, you know, like quite tall, so.
What age is he? 16, 17?
I think he's about 17, 18. He'll be about 18. You know?
The thing is, there's 16, 17-year-olds that haven't looked ready for the first team. He came in against Midtjylland. He didn't look out of place at all. He's muscly.
6'4".
That's what I mean. I think it's just inexperience for somebody like him now. But see, I think a loan deal would do him all the world of good, to be fair. Because I mean, he's been when he has played for the B team, he's been quality for them. So
I think if it's a loan deal, it'll be in January because that ACL
Recovery.
injury was
It's
fairly
a
recently,
bad
I
one to
think.
go through, isn't it?
Aye.
Okay, we know Near Beaton's of course leaving the club. Is Miles Sorrow?
so
He's a player that's gotten better since he's been out the team, I swear. Like in terms of people rating him. He's a walking red card. I know he's never had a red card for us, but bound to happen at Cell.
yeah, like the boy loves a booking man. But
I think his time at
I think
Celtic's
it is,
done.
but
isn't
it's
it?
mental. Like, see if you look back at his last year, like we definitely thought he could have played a massive part in the team, like this season here. But I think we were just blinded by how shite we were in the
Yeah.
2020-21 season. That anybody looked brilliant.
The rest of the, because it was like the rest of the team was so chaotic that he was sort of.
And the only two
Thriving off
standouts
that,
was like
aye.
David Turnbull, who looked brilliant, but I'm not saying it wasn't really good that season, but I think it obviously made him look better, the fact that he was shite.
Because he was competent. Aye.
Because him and Sorrow were the only two getting pass marks after
Aye.
most people.
So we all
We'll always
saying,
have Leo.
we'll always have Leo. We all saying sell though. Aye, we all saying
Yeah.
sell. Okay, Mikey Johnston, I'd sell.
It's another one I don't like pure right mouth because it's somebody that
Right,
even
he's
I've
on the
piled
wall.
like, joined the pile on like slagging him, but I don't know. I mean, I feel like we're getting past the point of a loan deal.
How
but
many years are we going to say Laker? Maybe.
I don't think he's got the body for football, to be honest. He picks up too many injuries.
Yeah, that's been the thing that's hampered them. That's what I feel bad about. Like, I just feel like
think
it's
see if
that.
he got put on a few seasons ago, I think it could have changed the trajectory of his career if he'd stayed fit, got hundreds of minutes under his belt.
Yep.
But I don't know. I feel like we're getting past the point of putting somebody like Mikey Johnson out on loan.
Is he 22, 23 now?
22,
Aye, he's
23,
getting
yeah.
on a wee bit.
I mean, he should have had that Aberdeen loan deal a couple of seasons ago. I know
Them
Aberdeen
Hibs or something.
Aye.
Yeah, he's 22 now. 22.
I want him to
he's 22,
still
he's
young,
23.
man.
He's 23. Sorry.
I want him to succeed. I really do, but
I thought he was going to play a big part in the team. See, in the 2019-20 season, he scored the goal at Sarajevo, pure belt to the goal. He set up Edward at Ibrox, and then he got injured, which and then El Yunusi took his spot in the team. So I think if that injury never happened, you could have maybe seen Mikey Johnson featuring quite heavily that season because he did actually look decent.
yeah.
But I don't know. I really don't know if I want to say sell right now because
I'd say so. That's my
I think
answer.
it's the realistic thing. But where does something like Mikey Johnson go?
I don't know. That's what he's got to
Hibs.
wait the
Cyprus.
That's the thing. I don't think
No,
he's
I actually won't. I just remembered Lens.
I think he's somebody that would leave an expiry of contract rather than anything else. So I think loans are realistic, but I think if I could, I'd sell.
Has he not got quite a big
I think he's got like a
contract,
5-year deal, I'm sure, at
Aye.
some point. I don't know when it expires, but
That's the thing, he had about 3 or 4 really good games. Everybody's thinking he's the best thing since sliced bread.
Yeah.
And then he gets a 5-year deal and then he gets injured the next game. It's
Okay.
disappointing. I want him to do well, but it's not worked out for him thus far.
and then the rest of the midfielders, all players are pretty much going to stay. I mean, we could talk about like James McCarthy, for example, but he signed a 4-year
Yeah,
deal
he's
with the club.
definitely
He's,
gonna be,
he's got to stay here
I
to
watched his
the,
old
to the end.
I watched his old highlights, man. What a player
Oh,
he
what a
was
player he
before,
was. I was an animal.
before
An animal.
Rondon finished
Aye.
him.
Yep. Karamoko Dembele, that's one player.
off.
He's off.
He's off.
That's it, isn't it?
It's meant to be
The
fair.
dream is over.
After years of speculating that he could be
The next big thing. And now he's off.
injury did hamper him, lack of chances, and in a season where he definitely should have been getting game time because it was done and dusted by like January
Aye.
basically. Like I don't understand why he wasn't getting game time, so I think that could have been his saving grace. But I mean, best of luck to him. I think there'll be a lot of people probably because he's no left Celtic, no signed a deal that will turn on him the way that they do on any player that leaves Celtic. But all the best to him. If he can make it somewhere else, then fair play. But it just wasn't to be at Celtic.
The attitude problems as well.
They
that you
have
hear
their
about
problems.
certain players, which is a bit weird. But aye, best of luck to him. I'm not going to wish him any less than
No.
like
I just
support
don't know
or
where he's
whatever.
going to go, but because I mean his stocks fell massively for like a few years ago when he was pure highly rated. But I still think a team down south would probably take a chance on him.
Because look at Okaflex. I mean, Okaflex didn't even have the hype around him. West
no.
Ham picked him
I
up.
wonder what, Okaflex's career trajectory is. It like West Ham at the minute? Like, what is the idea with him? Are they
He's
gonna,
been alright for an under 23s, you know.
He's been
no.
on their bench fairly regularly
Has
as
he?
well.
So, well, maybe there's a chance up there. One
Players
day.
Up to him
players
as
like
well.
them were getting like chances on the bench, and some of them even having to start when all the COVID was like happening like at the midpoint of this season when the games were getting cancelled and hundreds of players were out because they couldn't play because they hadn't and that. But I don't know.
It's a weird one, the
It
Dembele.
is.
Yep. And let's talk about the last player who I think is up for debate. Albion Ayeti.
So
So
So, yeah.
just wasn't to be.
Giakoumakis is the player that we thought Ayeti would be.
Do you know what?
I think it was a different mould of player, but like in terms of the contribution to the team,
And it all started so well for Ayeti too. Because remember he scored in his debut against Dundee United. I mean, the writing was on the wall for that season already. We were
that
struggling
game was
against.
actually atrocious.
Yeah,
man.
I was like, what the hell is going on here? And then he kept on scoring, didn't he?
Yeah.
Remember I
Six
think
goals in like his first 7 games.
I think the big problem was
madness.
he scored a goal and the shot was so hard that he actually injured himself in the process. Was it against Hibs? He scored.
I think so.
Was that the 3-0 game? I think that was the last sort of game that we won convincingly before the problems set in.
well.
Let's
not cast our mind back there.
And we'll always have Rugby Park where he scored as well. So.
Albion Ayeti.
I've actually tried to like repress the memories for that season so much.
It's hard
man.
watching those games back.
It's just-
the
It's
delayed.
see when you're saying about Dundee United, but I actually seen the highlights of him scoring. And I was like, that is actually barking. Like, so just seeing the pure empty stadiums.
I know.
And the delayed crowd noise.
And then there's a backlog of players who are going to be. Let's do this quick fire, this one, because we'll try and move it. We're 34 minutes through. We'll try and make the summer shows quicker. And there's still a couple of things I want to kind of touch on. So, very quickly, Connor Hazard.
So
He'll still be at Helsinki for the rest of the season, so.
there's his own until.
That's right. So, it's okay. Ross Doohan.
Sell, although he was quite highly rated at one point. He still is, isn't he? He's had a good season at Tranmere.
I said quick fire.
Sorry. Aye, Sell.
So I would go Sell. Okay, volleyball and golly. I mean, he's back, isn't he?
It's only crime was
Yeah,
being
you said
horny.
quick fire, Ryan.
Oh, sorry,
Sell.
my bad. Osasio Regide.
Sell, the writing was on the wall. He
I think
got an
he'll get
option
sold,
to
I
buy
think.
and he's loan.
Aye.
And even Ostend haven't even taken it up because they
Aye,
can't
it's-
afford it.
Says.
I think he'll be back, but I think he won't be back for long.
Do you say Sell as well?
I reckon we will sell him.
Adam Montgomery.
Loan.
Yeah, loan.
Wasn't that impressive at Aberdeen, so I think another loan's needed.
I think to another club, but maybe it's.
Yeah.
I think he should have went to Kilmarnock instead of Aberdeen in that window.
I think the problem was though that Glass gets sacked a couple of weeks after he got brought in,
Aye.
So it
and
didn't do
then
him any
Goodwin
favours.
wants something completely different. He
Different,
was on
yep.
the bench for most of it.
Now this is a big one. He's got a year left in his deal. What is going to happen with Scott Robertson?
I think he'll see his contract out.
I'd keep him.
For the year, and then just
He had a disappointing loan spell at Crewe, I know that.
He's not going to get a look in at Celtic. I think we might put him out on loan for 6 months, assess what's happening, and then maybe give him a new contract to
Okay.
an extension. But
Barry Coffey is. Yeah,
I don't know.
I don't know. I really don't know.
There's players in there that I'm like, I've never seen you play.
Aye.
But
So Barry Coffey, I mean,
he's back for pre-season, but we going.
But I'm sitting here. I've got the website for that B team for college. I'm like, is he getting a game time for them? But I think he did.
Luca Connell.
Sell. It's not going to happen.
Nah, I think
it's
it's
not
past
happening.
it
Come
for
on,
that.
he's playing for Queen's Park.
Still seen a lot of people saying like, "Oh, it could be the Rockets replacement." I'm like, sorry.
What?
I've seen people.
Who
say-
is saying that?
I don't.
Who's saying that?
I don't want to accuse somebody in case I'm wrong. I'm not going to go on the record and say this person said it, but I absolutely seen one of those like blog websites writing that Luca
Aye.
Connell could be the Rockets replacement, and I was looking at it and I was like, what? I was like,
I mean, fair play if you're going to put your neck on the line. Hopefully by the end of the season, we're clipped going, what?
He could be the Ralston, you never know. But do you know,
Nah, I just don't see that happening at
he's
all.
too slow.
He's genuinely nowhere near the prospect of being in the first team.
Aye.
And I know he's been out on loan, but I don't think there's any chance of it.
It's a bit of a weird one as well because he never got a look in under Lennon as well and he signed him.
Yep. Okay, Liam Shaw. Loan again.
I think he'd get put on loan.
Yeah,
I think there's a lot more hope for him than Urugide.
Yeah.
One of them can play football.
As we know, Ewan Henderson is leaving the club. He'll join Hibs permanently. Kerr McEnroy.
Out of contract.
Is he out of contract?
Yeah.
Thank
So
you.
you're Airdrie now.
Aye.
And then the last two are both at Airdrie, and that's Jonathan Afolabi and Brodie Patterson. Which
I could probably say. No, I thought Abby's definitely off.
Afolabi's going to
He's
go.
so far off. being-
he's got to go.
Although
Although he was
enough.
quite pivotal in Airdrie getting promotion.
Well, maybe he'll return to Airdrie with high
Did
hopes.
they get promoted? Was that Queen's Park?
Nah, they never got promoted, did they?
No, they didn't, because it was
Because
good to see the fans
they
stay
pulled
down.
it back against
Yep.
Montrose or something.
Montrose, aye.
Right.
Scottish football.
Well, that's that then. Also, Celtic have been linked with Mohamed Abu Fani. And that's not one of the funny names I told us to come up with 5 minutes ago. That is a genuine link. But I hate these articles because Celtic are set to scout. Well, okay.
How would you know?
I know. Well,
Do you not keep that quiet?
Celtic are set to scout. Not actually. So as I said, take everything with a pinch of salt earlier on.
At the course of the summer,
Alan
the
McGriffiths?
papers will just be Wait, what?
That is because Scotland played against Israel. And he's an Israel international. He's been capped. Something like Maccabi.
I get my Maccabi teams mixed up. Tons and talks of one of the
Maccabi Tel Aviv.
teams.
He's
anyway, the paper, as you were saying, Kieran, the paper's a link. It's been name after name, and
they're just trying to get stories out of the day. Because as with us, we are fumbling about in the dark trying to get something to talk about. So they need to put shit out every
if
single
a Celtic
day.
transfer talk can get me 10,000 views for talking absolute shite, then I'll take it. So thank you very much.
Who's his agent?
Oh, it's got to be Doodoo.
Doodoo deals.
It's got to be Doodoo. I mean, that actually does make me believe it could happen, just because it's Doodoo answer. But you know, there's
Call him up. Better call Doodoo.
Better call Doodoo. That sounds like a great spin-off. Anyway, that's basically it in terms of transfers and such. We've covered everything 40 minutes into the show. We have to, which we can start maybe just getting into the Twitter questions and the kind of.
We don't have a who's that tick this week.
We don't have a who's that tick. Kieran is.
He's either mad about it or still rough for yesterday. He says he'll have many for next week, so
that's good, right? The man is enjoying himself.
He does have a new game in the works as well.
Oh, he does. Keep an eye on the Twitter. We're going to have a new Twitter game, I believe. Kieran's just a worker. He is real.
We need to get him on the podcast.
I know, we need to get him on one way. I mean, he'd fucking break the mics. He's a loud boy.
Break the mics and break the internet.
Yeah, but it would be brilliant. Get him on one week. He'd get sacked for his job probably, but you know, we could try. Anyway, well, let's get into some fun. The only other thing that I thought, you know, we could maybe touch on this week, unless you've got anything that you've noticed, I'll open the floor in a moment, but the Lisbon Lions were voted the best club team of all time by the BBC's poll that has created some sort of reaction. I covered it yesterday in the channel. It's just fucking hilarious, isn't it?
Into that, if Rangers had won in Seville, they'd be the greatest team of all time.
That's crazy. Yep.
Just shows you, doesn't it? Swings and roundabouts.
Technically, it should be Frankfurt. It should be.
I think, but it's like how worked up some of the people are getting there, or the Celtic dads getting together and voting as hanging on a meaningless poll on BBC. I'm like, why is he getting so worked up? But I seen that. I don't know if it was that John McGinley, the guy that
Big John.
He posted screenshots of that mad follow, and it was like somebody
so
tweeted
funny.
like. Who's even voting on this anyway? Apparently yous. It's like, I know. All them like, right, let's go and vote for Barcelona.
Getting their
like,
VPNs to vote for numerous locations. You know, it seems very, very nice.
Yeah, yes, you definitely don't care.
Yes, they definitely don't care. But that was funny. I'll open the floor before we move on to the last couple of segments. Anything at all that you've
Talk
seen?
about Celtic over the summer. I'm bored.
It's the fact there's no qualifiers. I mean, we've got about another month until we've even got pre-season, and then have we even ever spoke about the fact that fucking Celtic could have played a blinder and had the friendlies against Blackburn and Norwich doing it?
I can't believe
Ewood Park and
how good that would have been.
Absolutely.
Norwich should have been a bit of a mission, to be fair, but Blackburn would have been class, man.
Blackburn would have been a great trip.
That's thing, but I hate friendlies because I hate going to them at Sellik Park. But see the prospect of going down there a day out and that, it just makes it sound so much better. But then again, after the whole Sunderland fiasco, I don't think they're too keen to let us put us
I know,
inside.
it's like, I just feel like it's never going to happen anytime soon because of situations like that, and it's sad. But that's
Tommy Robinson.
Yeah, it's his fault.
Was there not trouble at the
Brentford
as well? Was
invasion.
I used to love their old stadium. See the stand behind the goal, man. I fucking loved that.
Aye,
The
brilliant.
new stadium's a cracker as
I
well.
like their new stadium.
It's pure
Purpose
weird,
built.
man. Like,
It's
it's pure
weird.
in the middle of all these big buildings.
Because we passed it, mind, to the way
on that mid like,
motorway
thing.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think.
No
what
far for the
else.
airport, really.
It's not really.
Anything
We'll
at all.
get the open. We're going to get the season ticket benefit. We're going to
Open
get
training
the
day.
open training day. I probably will go to that. To be
I will
honest.
not.
Is that the way you're into, Kieran, there?
I'm 21.
I'm 24.
No, you see yourself showing up.
What, one of those royalists?
I probably wouldn't go. I feel like that is why they things are like, what do you do when you're there?
Hang out the fucking board like, hey, outside.
Hopefully we get those cartons of water again.
Oh, well, maybe Dom will make a return. Dom.
I've got them, I might go.
Can you make it a carton of lager?
I had about 5 or 6 of them that day, man.
I had about
See that Michelin game? I was actually sweating my pan in. We were sitting in
you were
direct
steaming
sunlight.
as well.
I was wrecked, right? But I'm sitting there actually about 6 of them deep. I'm like, fucking every 2 minutes I need to go for a piss, man.
That's what happens. I'm looking forward to the first Celtic booze of the season. That's going to be great.
Aye.
a good
It'll be a
weather,
home game
man.
too, we have, won't we?
Hopefully it's a shots and shut weather game.
Love that.
That'd be great. Didn't get many of them last season at all.
That's the problem with our schedule for the season.
We
never
should
get
play
that.
through the fucking summer.
We should.
I'd be a big advocate for playing through the summer.
Great.
Then it's weird, but like, see other teams that play through the summer, like, see they're like when they're in the group stages of European competition, and it's like it's done near enough. Like,
business end of the season.
So Iron Island didn't do that until when Dundalk's made it in. Like they're basically no playing league games near the end up, but they're still having to play in Europe.
Right, well, anyway, that's us. Let's move on to the Twitter questions for today. I've got the tweet up here from
Did we get
earlier
one?
on. I don't know, actually. I've not had
I think we got a fair few.
proper examination, so I'll try and fly through as many as quickly as possible. We'll try and end this show under an hour today. But Kieran put up the tweet today. Thanks very much, Kieran. And Adam asking a nice question to start us off. Just wondering, just asking about ourselves. You know, sometimes the hosts matter rather than the Celtic. I mean, that sounds very egotistical. What's your plans over the summer holidays? You've got any holidays or just boozing every weekend like normal? A bit of both.
A bit of both,
Yeah, a bit of both,
got
yeah.
Ibiza in August.
Yeah, I've got we booked Krakow. We're about to Krakow at the end of the
June.
month. Yep. So a couple of us gone there. I've got 3 of us, and then I've got Magaluf, Shagaluf.
Pervert.
Excuse me.
22, man.
Fuck off. I'm going to Maga in August. What about you, Ryan? Any holidays?
Got a stag do at the end of August.
Oh, have
Where
you?
you
Ah.
Going to Dublin.
Expensive.
Very expensive. Temple Bar. My water going to be about €8.
Fucking hell.
No, I'm just going to work through it. I think I'm going to work through the summer.
Get
just
on and go to the cat house every week.
Aye, probably. Mate, to be honest, mate. Do you know what? See when you find your local. I'm happy where I am now.
Aye.
You know, I'm one with the Goffs.
One with the
Goffs are
Goffs.
one with me.
My pal was at cat house the other day.
I know he was because I met him.
Jack?
Aye,
did you?
the long hair.
Aye,
He was
yeah.
talking to me.
Aye. No, he never even said it, did he say?
I think he
It'll be
did.
Nah, I don't
We
fucking
were all
remember.
pissed, man.
Anyway, I will.
He's actually said he liked it.
No, he
know,
was
I
saying
thought Jack
he was
really
saying he
took
loved
it.
the shit. He was loving it. But anyway,
You need to make an appearance.
I will one day maybe. We'll see.
I'm not going to the cat house.
No,
nah.
you're not doing it? Nah.
It's really not my scene.
Fair enough.
I could find a golf bride.
Good.
Fuck off.
That's what I want. That's why I'm there. My mum and dad are like, don't hang about there. You'll get somebody like a golf. I'll be like, Mum, Dad, that's what I want.
Bringing back some Avril Lavigne.
So, don't have to be so complicated. Mate.
When can we talk
jeez.
about football?
Jordan Gray, the Queen, many pints. Jubilee weekend, boys. You celebrating it?
I've got out my tricolour in it.
Gafamok's still looking like something like a dystopian British future.
You seen the Nicky Day cunts at the Bristol bar?
No.
They've got the usual Union Jacks covering the fill outside of the walls and that. Then inside they've got murals of the Queen and like a 70 balloon. Like, and then they've also.
She's going to turn up.
I'm pretty
get a
sure-
photo in front of
I'm
her
pretty
balloon.
sure-
She's looking pretty old. For
I'm pretty
70,
sure
isn't
they've
she?
got what's it called? They've like not changed the name of it, but on one of the bits where it would say the Bristol Bar, it's like says like the Queen Elizabeth Arms or something, as if it's like the name of the pub. I might phone up whoever they got that time cafe and get them to flatten the place. Honestly, man.
It's all about weird, isn't it? It's
odd,
all, I
it's
mean, I
odd.
watched that Joe. I don't know if you watched the Joe video with the royalists. I'm surprised that guy didn't bring his doll with him. That guy. See, that guy's away out the house. Go into his house, take his hard drive. I swear to God, easiest conviction you'll ever
I
get.
know, confirmed nonce.
Yep, absolutely. It's all weird. It's very weird.
Yes, that's very weird. But we'll move on. We'll move on. Could we see a Sellik the Thunder podcast from Austria while the boys are out training there? Great excuse for a trip.
Are they paying for it?
If Ryan pays for it.
If I pay for it, yeah, Dougie
Let's
was
see that
asking.
redundancy money.
Actually, I looked at the price of flights. It's not really cheap to get it there,
I
man.
don't think it would be to go to Austria. It's a very kind of. It's not quite Germany, but it's not quite
Even
Italy.
for
It's
that
like sandwiched in the middle.
But even for like London, where flights are normally the cheapest, I'm pretty sure flights to Vienna and that are still pretty.
Yeah.
And it's not even confirmed the teams are playing yet. I know we're playing a team in like the Czech Republic or something. Mind how it's like their anniversary or something, so we're going through it, but it's like Ostrava or something.
Yeah, that's right. Do you know what? Keep your eyes open because maybe when there's European trips, I might dish out the microphones and cut about and do something.
want to go
So
to
we'll see.
European trip next one.
I'm hoping to go to all three.
Hopefully.
I'd love to go to all three. So we'll see what happens. It'd be good if we could actually do something like that.
That'll be something to look forward to. The draw.
Oh, wait, have we
Something to look
even
forward
spoke
to
about the Champions League draw or anything? I was going to go through what would be your ideal.
Save it for the next episode. Save
No,
it
but
for
like, say ideal trip. But,
ideal trips.
I'm saying why the Milan teams.
Milan.
Naples.
I would go AC Milan for Milan. I would go Dortmund for pot 3 for Germany, and for pot 2 I think I picked was one of the Spanish teams, and I believe I picked Atletico Madrid.
We get actual fucked in that group, man.
Yes, but for
See, to be
trips,
honest,
I'll
like,
take it.
in terms of trips, but like in terms of the actual football itself, I like to get the easiest group possible.
Yes, of course.
Because Celtic don't have any luck when it comes to
No,
shit
no.
like that.
I'm just going to tell you my ideal draw.
Right.
Frankfurt, Sevilla, and who was the third team? Frankfurt, Sevilla, Napoli.
Is that your ideal
I'd
group?
love
I'd
to
like
go
to
with
go to
Naples. Naples would be
My
great.
ideal group is Frankfurt, Chelsea.
Chelsea?
Yep, because we always do well against English teams.
I think as long as we avoid Man City and Liverpool, I'd be happy.
I'd go Frankfurt, Chelsea, and I believe I said Salzburg, maybe. If we put
I'd be alright with Spurs as well, though.
I'd take Spurs.
I mean, I want to see that stadium. That stadium's
the only thing is we play
phenomenal.
right into their hands for a counter attack.
No.
play
Conte.
right.
Conte v Angeball.
Anyway, right, that's a good. We'll talk about that more in depth in some of the.
There's a podcast.
The dream scenario.
Just go through every single team.
Here is Kieran anyway. He said Elizabeth II, Maggie Thatcher, and Theresa May, shag, marry, kill myself. Here's my answer. I'm not going to even justify you with an answer, Kieran. You dirty pig. You see Jota and Cameron Carter-Vickers hanging on the edge of a cliff. However, you can only save one and sign them permanently for the club. Who do you save? Great question.
Like Johnny
from
Brooks from Red Dead
Aidan
Redemption
Smythe.
2.
Yeah. And he said, disclaimer, I will not accept you saying, for example, I'll help Vickers and then he can help Jota up so we can both sign him personally.
I think I wouldn't say right now, I don't have the upper body strength to save any of them, but especially no Carter Vickers. I'm like,
You're
I'm
trying
going to
to
pull
pull
him
him
up,
up,
but
you're
I'm
going
going
to
down with him. I'm like, I need to think about not just Celtic, I need to think about my own life. So I'm like,
I don't mind.
if I get a hun of Carter Vickers, I'm going to go fun straight down.
Okay, so you're picking Jota?
I mean, I had less chance of death in it. So
Maybe you're right.
could grab him
I
by the
don't want
head.
to
I
risk
don't
my
know.
own life, to be honest.
So you're
It's not
picking
that
them.
deep, is it? No.
Wow.
You're walking
Wow.
past them like that. What?
What are you doing there?
Sorry, boys. You might have guessed on their phone or
No,
something.
probably Jota if I want to fancy my chances of living. But
Right,
I mean,
okay. I'll
I know, I don't want to let Carter Vickers die here, but I need to think of myself first.
It'd be like one of those Looney Tunes with the coyote and the what do you call it, the Roadrunner with those big anvils. That's what it would be like with Carter Vickers. You just go all the way down.
I'll pick Vickers then because you two are picking Jota, so he's not getting left.
Look at a big strong man picking up Carter Vickers.
Great question. Here's your food question for the night, boys. What a question. Cal, the 4 of you are on come dine with me against it's only 3 as Calum's not here. So the 3 of you are on come dine with me against each other. What he's making? What's your meals? What we gain each other?
Cook.
I'm
I
not-
literally
I'm-
can't cook.
If you could ideally cook, what would you be cooking?
I'm trying to think of one of the best things I've made this year. So
What do you think could win?
well, against you is fucking pretty much anything, but like I made one.
It's other people just eats.
So starter, I would make nachos, but with like all the beef and shit through it and like pure nice jalapeno
I was going to suggest like
salsa.
see the mad tortilla crunch wrap thingy at Supreme you get feel like Taco Bell. I made that earlier on there. It was fucking unreal.
Good.
So
Is that your main dish or?
I don't know. It's just getting thrown in there somewhere. There'll be some fucking ramen in there as well.
Right, for my starter, I'm going for the nachos. I'd make yous for dinner. I'd make yous a nice lobster,
I've not tried lobster.
neither.
and for dessert, I would be getting yous a McFlurry. There you
That's
go.
nice.
There you go.
Am I delivering it?
I can go out and get that and come back.
Starter, vegetable soup. Main course, chicken Maryland. Like the way my dad makes it, it's just phenomenal. And dessert, I don't know. Do I have a dessert?
Nah.
For
Not a
starter,
dessert,
you're getting a packet of chicken refrigerators. For the main course, you're getting that taco crunch wrap Supreme
Right,
thing.
okay.
And then for dessert, I don't know, a wagon wheel or something.
Imagine you walked out with hey, have yourself boys. That's what my dad would do. Right, okay, nice. Come fly with
love
me.
food.
Come fly with me. Come dine with me.
Cancelled.
Milo, friend of the show, asks, you boys have taken a well-deserved break just in general. How are we? That's nice. That's nice. Checking in.
I don't know.
Shite. Generally, shite.
Football's my life, so
Football's my life. Well, I'm just kind of full-time
and I just
YouTube now,
don't
so
it'll be difficult for you because obviously you need to think of shit.
tell me about it. I'm scraping the bottom of the fucking barrel, boys.
You pick some
passionate
time to
for
go
Chelsea,
full time on the
ideas.
old YouTube, man.
I do. I pick the time. It's not my fault. Tesco shut when it shut, right? Somebody's brought up the Binley Mega Chippy.
Worst part of
That's
chippy.
bad, innit?
Jeez, oh. See, the thing is, when it started, mind, I was putting it in the chat for
Right, what the
days
fuck is
leading
this,
up to the boom. I was like, this better not take off because I've had enough of it already. And this was like before it proper boomed. I thought this is when it was still kind of exclusive. I thought everything was like 1,000 likes. It wasn't even that popular, but yet it just made its way onto my page.
See,
and now
see
it's
what
just,
I'm hoping somebody out there hasn't got a tattoo yet, but I can feel it coming. Like, see, that way you know some wanker's going to do it just to make a TikTok or just to get some likes on fucking Twitter. Like, I can definitely see it coming. Somebody getting a Binley Mega Chippy tattoo.
yeah.
The thing I don't understand, what's the big deal about it? Because it looks pure ordinary.
I think it's just the name of it, Binley Mega Chippy, and
I
then
don't even,
people
the
take
guy
the
that
piss
owns it
and-
doesn't even have a fucking clue.
Somebody's obviously made a song
Aye,
in a jokey way, and I think everything gone to it knows it's not going to be. It's not meant to be pure good food or nothing. It's just gone there for the sake of getting a TikTok in.
Oh,
or
look at
something.
me, I'm at the Binley Mega Chippy.
I hate this fucking. I hate this country.
See, madness that you can peddle success off of something so stupid there.
If you're going to travel somewhere
But
with good food.
I was thinking about this last night. It's gotta be so funny for the guy that owns it, although he's no like done it and he has no clue what's happening. Like, he's gonna go through this week period of booming and it's just gonna go back to normal again. Like, it's just
There's got to be a question on, like, see the big fat quiz of the year.
Aye,
I can
aye,
guarantee it'll be
aye.
like, which chippy in Coventry like was blew up because I fucking blew up.
deaths at the Binley Mega Chippy.
That'll be it.
A lot of questions about Europe, but we've kind of touched on that as well. If you could add, we've been asked this before, if you could add anything to the food stalls in Celtic Park. I've had that a few times. Well, I'll probably revisit that one day in great detail. Should Celtic fans be more hostile in Europe?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's died down a
I
wee bit in
seen somebody
Europe.
on Twitter say the other day, and I was like, actually, I agree with that. Like, see how hostile it was against Rangers on the 2nd of February.
Yeah.
That every game.
Yeah, yep. But it's
It used to be like that too.
None of
Used
this,
to be like
none of
that.
this glamour type pish. Fucking like, nah, like right into them, full crowd behind them.
Right, there's no time for a quiz. We're away. We're getting papped it. See you later. Goodbye.
Catch.
Cheers.